Hello everyone, welcome to my XCOM 2 War of the Chosen guide. I'm gonna be making this series of guide videos, tutorials if you will, to help new players get started with the game, get them up to speed, to show them what they're gunning for. So let's get right into it. Before you even launch the game, what you want to do is you want to go into the description of the video and download the XCOM 2 alternative mod launcher, even if you're not planning on using any mods. And the reason for that is that it works, which sometimes is not the case for the basic launcher. I've been using the alternative launcher for years, and I've never had any problems with it, but when it comes to the basic launcher, I constantly hear people having problems, how the game doesn't work, mods don't work, something always just doesn't work. So you want to get that alternative mod launcher, and if you are going to be using mods, it just makes it a heap easier to enable, disable them. You can group them together. It tells you a lot of information, what mods are conflicting, all that stuff. Now, speaking of mods, I will be using mods for this guide. I've put up 4 different collections in the description on Steam. The first one is base, and those are small mods, small quality of life fixes, improvements, bug fixes, this kind of stuff that doesn't really change the game much. The next 2 are music and customization, which I'm only really including so that if you see something in my game that you want to have, you know where to look. And these 3 collections will be enabled for the series. The 4th collection is Base Plus, and those are also fairly small improvements to the game. Those are mods that I always play with, much like Base and the other collections, but they change the game enough that I've decided to disable them for this series, because they do make some changes to how the game works. And this one will not be enabled. So, let's get started. Let's make a new game. I'm gonna be playing on Legend difficulty, so that whatever you see in the videos is going to be as hard or harder than what you're playing. Right, so the challenge that I'm getting faced with in the game is the highest possible challenge that you can be faced with. I'm gonna be reducing beginner voiceover. Here we have this menu, advanced options. Those are little modifiers to how the game works. They change a bit how they change some mechanics. Some of them change a little bit how the campaign is structured. I'm not going to be using those. Iron Man is an option which forces you to play with just one save file, and whatever decisions you make get saved. And this is, well, to make the game a bit more exciting so that give choices more consequences. I'm gonna be playing without Iron Man just for the purposes of the videos, but all the advice I will be giving will be from the perspective of an Iron Man player. And I will be trying to teach you how to play the game on Iron Man essentially, because I do usually play on Iron Man, but just for the purposes of these videos, I'm gonna be playing without. Now what are these options? This option, Lost and Abandoned, I'm gonna be having this off. This is a tutorial mission for War of the Chosen, essentially. It's a mission that you have to play through. It plays out in almost the same way every time, and it's pretty long. So I would recommend playing through it once, but after that it gets kind of stale, so I'm gonna be having this off. Now this option, Integrated DLC, changes a little bit how the campaign is structured, how the progression is structured. Um, I'll have this on just because I think that's how most people are gonna be having it. I don't really have a preference over on or off. These two missions are also two very scripted missions, which um, get pretty boring after we've beaten them once, and they are automatically disabled when this option is enabled. So that's it. I'm gonna be skipping the cutscenes. Alright, so we are in the first mission, Operation Gate Crasher. And this mission plays out in very similar ways every time. The objective is always the same. We have to plant a bomb here. There is no time limit. The amount and type of enemies in this mission within the same difficulty is always going to be the same. So you can move the camera around by shifting your cursor to the edge of the screen, shift the elevation using the scroll wheel, E and Q to turn the camera around. You can click on your soldiers to select them, or you can also cycle through them with Tab and Shift. And so we have three soldiers, which start off as rookies. This is like a basic class that most soldiers start as, and they're all essentially the same. They're gonna be getting individual classes once they get promoted. But then we also have a fourth soldier who happened to be a Reaper. And this is a special hero unit, faction unit essentially. In War of the Chosen, you start off with one of three different soldier special faction types. You have the Reapers, the Skirmishers, and the Templars, and I happen to have gotten the Reaper. So you can see we have these little displays showing some information on the soldier. This is their health, this is their attack damage, this is their aim, their mobility. And these two arrows are their action points. And most actions cost one action point to perform. So you can see we have Overwatch, Hunker Down, Grenade, shoot, right? Moving also consumes action points. You can see that the blue border is how far I can move with just one action point, and then the yellow border is how far I can go with 2 action points. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start moving my soldiers by pressing right click on where I want them to go. Now we start off with concealment. Our soldiers are concealed, which means that enemies do not know we're here. So you can see that my soldier spotted this enemy, but they don't know we're here. And unless we move into these red tiles, they're not going to see us. There's also a few actions that immediately reveal your soldiers, like shooting this weapon. This icon shows this action is going to reveal the squad, and this action, this icon shows this action is going to end the soldier's turn, regardless of how many action points they have remaining. So usually, if I have the time, if we don't have a turn limit, I usually just move up my soldiers one move at a time and then overwatch. Uh, just because if I do perform a yellow move, and then suddenly there's enemies really close by that my soldiers couldn't see before, that's a risk of getting revealed and spotted. Um, okay, I'm gonna go explain how Reapers work in a moment. So these enemies are leaving the area right now, but we have also spotted another group up there. So the way I usually like to play the first mission is to get some high ground and just stick my soldiers up there and try to camp there, and then maybe use one soldier to try to scout around and sort of bait enemies back towards the rest. Because being on the high ground does give you a bonus to aim. I believe it also increases your defense, so it makes you harder to hit. And you can see I'm moving my soldiers around uh, in cover, right? We have these shields on different objects. The full shield means that it's full cover, so that's a high defense bonus. The low shield means it's low cover, so it's low defense bonus. When the shield is red, that means that enemies are flanking the soldier, so the cover does not help at all. Alright, so here's the other group. And that's the third group. It's also the last one in this mission. There's always going to be 3 groups on Legend difficulty. So, Reapers. You can see that they start off in Shadow, which is a special type of concealment. First of all, when the rest of the squad breaks concealment, a Reaper will still stay in Shadow. And you can see that the detection radii is much, much smaller. So they're much harder to spot. They are very effective scouting units, essentially, used for sort of looking ahead and seeing where enemies are. So I'm gonna go ahead and climb my soldiers upstairs. All right. So if I wanted to be cheeky, um, the Reaper starts off with this ability called Claymore. And what it does is that it throws this little explosive, which does not explode on impact. It is not a grenade, okay? It explodes when it is shot at or there is some damage on the ground. So for example, another explosion can set it off. And you can see in the description, and also there is no reveal icon, which shows that the Reaper can throw this claymore, and then he can shoot the claymore as well. And this will blow up the claymore, dealing 5 damage to everyone within the radius. And the best part is that nobody gets revealed in the whole process. And you can see throwing the claymore doesn't even end the turn. So if I have 2 action points, I can throw the claymore and then shoot it in the same turn. And these guys are gonna die because they have 4 health. And that's one of the strengths of Reapers, really just using various explosives to their advantage. These skills can be kind of situational, but they can also be very powerful. So I'm actually gonna, well, what happened here? Uh, Something got stuck. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do exactly what I described. Toss the claymore, and then this icon is the shooting the claymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and blow that up, and now an entire group of 3 is dead from the mission. Now I'm spacing out my soldiers a little bit, just because the basic advent troopers, they don't start out carrying grenades, but the officer does. So getting multiple soldiers get hit by grenade is not, well, it can be pretty devastating. Yeah, that's exactly what I was waiting for. Waiting for some enemies to come our way. So now you can see the icon is yellow, which means that this unit is exposed or flanked. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up these 2 on Overwatch. Now Overwatch is an ability which it doesn't do anything immediately, but when the soldier is revealed and they see an enemy unit performing a movement, they will shoot. And there is a small aim penalty for that. But because we are in concealment, we are doing an ambush attack, an ambush. So if one person shoots and then the rest are on Overwatch, there is no aim penalty for those people on Overwatch because we're setting up an ambush. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this guy. There's an 86% chance of hitting, which is pretty nice. And yeah, well, that's just XCOM, I guess. So we're taking Overwatch shots now, and that's another whiff. No, that was it. Okay. So now, the rest of my squad is revealed. Only the Reaper is in concealment. And what is convenient is that we have only spotted this pod so far. Out of the soldiers that are not concealed, they have only spotted this pod of enemies, this group. And the reason for that is it's how pods work in this game. So enemies start out in these groups called pods, and they start off inactive. They are not active pods. And what this means is that they can only sort of move around. They're not going to attack you yet. When they spot me or I spot them, the pod becomes active. And what this means is that if it happens on my turn, the enemies get a scamper move like you saw, where they sort of get a free move to run into cover. And that's all they can do. And then when my turn is over, they're going to get their turn and they can do whatever, right? They can start shooting, they can do whatever. But if the pod gets activated on the enemy turn, the only thing they can do is just scamper and not attack. There are very few exceptions. There are a tiny few enemies which can perform an offensive action when they scamper, but most cannot. And so they come over, they get activated, they get a scamper, and then their turn is over, and then I get a full turn to try and eliminate them. And then they get their turn, and they can start attacking. So it's very important to manage how many pods are active, right? You don't want to activate more pods than you can manage. Now this is not the ideal situation. We have one full health trooper and one wounded sectoid. And we have one Reaper in concealment. Now, shooting an enemy as a Reaper in shadow only has a chance to reveal this Reaper. And it starts off at 50%. So, this is the question. Do I go for the shots and eliminate as many threats as I can before they become threats? Or do I just try to care for my soldiers? Now the trooper will probably shoot because that's basically the only thing they can do. But the sectoid has a different skill. It has several unique abilities. If a sectoid sees dead humanoid bodies such as Advent troopers or my soldiers, or these guys here for example, he is usually first thing they're gonna do is try to resurrect them as Psi zombies. And this is good because it doesn't do anything immediately. the zombies have to wait for the next turn before they can do anything. The second thing, if a sectoid sees one of my soldiers, they're going to try to use Mind Spin, which is an ability that can do several things. It has a chance to do several different things. It can disorient them, it can panic them, it can mind control them. And you still, even if the soldier gets mind controlled, you still get a full turn to try to kill the sectoid before they do anything harmful. And then the third thing, if the sectoid sees a flanked or exposed soldier, they're almost always going to try to shoot them. And their damage is pretty high. They have really good aim as well. So you really don't want to get caught flanked by a sectoid. I cannot really take a flank on this trooper without potentially exposing my Reaper to this bot. And so I think the safest bet would be to try to kill this sectoid through its cover. So I'm gonna take the high ground again. And to try and maximize my odds, 83% chance is pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the shot, and that's a whiff. Lovely. And we got revealed as well. Now, this is the first mission. We might as well take the risk, right? Even if you're playing on Iron Man, you might as well, like if something goes wrong, you can just restart the mission, it doesn't matter. And you can see the sectoid did reanimate the zombie, so it's basically a harmless thing for now. And yeah, that my soldier did just get hit. They could have died, but I'm gonna go ahead and put my Reaper back into Shadow. They can enter Shadow for free once on every mission. And I'm just gonna move ahead and try to see where the other pod is, because I want to move my soldiers, my other soldiers, into a flank on these guys without activating the other pod. You can see that I get a little orange warning sign showing that I am about to get spotted. So, where do I actually put my soldiers? I am fully expecting these enemies to be dead by the end of the turn. So I am going to... try to take the flank while also protecting myself if these soldiers come over next turn. And that's about as good as odds we're gonna be getting. And that's a kill. That's great. I'm gonna go ahead and take the flank on this sectoid as well. And then leave one well, I don't even know if he's gonna die, to be honest. The rookie you start with has pretty shit aim. But if not, I can just throw a grenade. Okay, and we also got an item. The sectoid was carrying an item, and you can see the little numbers there meant that the item will disappear in 3 turns. So you have to come and pick it up fast if you want it. But it's not they can be pretty valuable items, but usually they're not worth the safety of your soldiers. So with this soldier, he's wounded. We really want to preserve him. So I'm gonna just reload and then overwatch with him. And then with my Reaper, I'm going to reload. Okay. This is pretty convenient. These guys are not moving yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and move my soldiers back to where they were. And then take a slightly better look at where they are. Okay, they did not see me. They moved somewhere else. So I'm using these like hotkeys. R is for reloading, Y is for overwatch. There's some others, but those are the ones I use. You can rebind them in the menus. Now this lamppost thing, you can see it's sort of scanning the area, so it can detect my soldiers if I move them, if I move concealed soldiers into its radius. So I'm just gonna move my Reaper so that he can see everyone. And I'm gonna try to shuffle my soldiers around a bit so that my wounded soldier does not take fire first, or at least he's less likely to. Like this. I don't know where they're going, but I sure hope they're they're planning on coming back. I really hope that they plan on moving towards my soldiers soon. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to try and send one of my soldiers down there and then try to bait them back towards where the rest is. Because they are very still right now. So I'm gonna set my other soldiers on Overwatch, because now if I move forward, the enemies are gonna get a scamper. So they're going to move. Actually, I'm gonna wait just one more turn. Yeah, so I'm gonna do like I said. And now I'm going to make a move forward. And then I guess I'll just double back to get them to come to the rest. Okay. It's actually tempting to get him inside, because there's full cover on two sides here. It's gonna be exposed up here, pretty much. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then next turn I'm gonna take some shots with my Reaper. Some flanking shots, hoping for some kills. Okay, that's one hit. We're gonna need more though. Oof. That's pretty bad. Okay, that's a miss. So the officer just marked the soldier, which increases the aim of their allies against this specific soldier. Oh. This is pretty dicey. I think I'm gonna have to go ahead and just play full aggressive and try to take out as many of them as I can. So I think I'm gonna move my Reaper to try and draw some attention and take this shot to try and kill this guy. Okay, that's very good. And they didn't even get revealed. I'm not sure if that's good or not. I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw some grenades for some guaranteed hits. So I'm gonna try to put my highest health soldier out here so that they have a less chance of killing anyone. Now the reason why I want to throw this grenade specifically is to destroy this guy's cover. Because now if this does destroy his cover, he will be exposed. And take damage, of course. So now this soldier can take an exposed shot and hopefully, well, if he lands a kill, then we're home free, because then I can throw a grenade on this guy and then he's dead. So I'm gonna move him up to see this officer. And I just pray that this is a kill, and it's not even a hit. Well, I can't even make the throw here. I'm gonna throw this soldier back here so that the officer has to move to spot him. And then take this shot. Okay, that's a kill. We still have one more soldier. Whoa, well, that was convenient. Wait, what? That was odd. Can't say I remember this happening before. Okay, I think I'm gonna try to get the kill with my Reaper, because promoting the Reaper is, well, I would like this to happen soon. Nice. Cool. Mission's done. So, the objective basically does not matter for this mission, because you still have to kill everyone to complete the mission, and there is no reason to just complete the objective early. So it's worth to focus just on killing things. Alright, that's Gate Crasher. Alright, everyone got promoted. That's very good. So, rookies, when they get promoted very quickly. And they have a chance to become one of 4 basic classes. And the first 4 rookies that get promoted are guaranteed to be one of each of the 4 basic classes. So the first 4 soldiers are going to be, well, you're never going to be without a class until they just die or something. But we had 3 rookies on this mission, so it's going to be a dice roll on who we're missing. So we have a specialist. The ranger. And the grenadier. That's very good. I would have wished to not get a specialist and instead get a marksman, a sharpshooter, but that's fine. So when rookies get promoted the first time, we do not get a choice on what they get. They just get assigned a random class and we don't get a choice on their skill. And the Reaper is also ranked up, which is very good. But the Reaper does get a choice because they are not a rookie. And out of these 3 skills, I'm gonna recommend getting remote start. I'm gonna explain this more a bit in a moment. But I recommend getting remote start. This is the loot we got from the mission. And then we also got a bond threshold. Which I think I'm gonna cover in the next video. I'm gonna ignore this for now. And I'm gonna go back to my soldiers for a moment. So, when basic soldiers get promoted, you can choose one of 2 skills for them to get in these 2 rows. And this 3rd row is randomly generated for each soldier and this is not accessible to us at the moment. We need to build a special facility to be able to get those skills. But basic progression for the 4 basic classes is that they get XP, they get promoted, you choose one of these 2 skills, and then you go forward. But faction classes work a bit differently, because they get, instead of getting free skills, they get AP, which are ability points, and buying these skills costs ability points, and you do get enough when you rank up to get at least one, but you can get more, or you don't have to get those and save the AP for something else. So soldier AP are points that this specific soldier can spend. XCOM AP are points that anyone can spend. And the other basic classes also have AP, but it is not usable until we get the specialized training center, or whatever the facility is called. Okay, so I've gone over the basics for the tactical layer of the game. I hope you found this video helpful, and please do let me know if you want to see more. I've never really done anything like this before on YouTube, so I don't really know if people want to be seeing this. Like any positive feedback would go a long way with encouraging me to make more. But thank you for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next video, which is going to be an introduction to the strategy layer, which is what we're seeing right here. This is our base. So thanks again for watching, and I'll be seeing you later.